Hello and welcome to Deep Dive. Today we'll be diving into the oceans of the leatherback sea turtle's home and breeding ground, the South Pacific Islands. The leatherback sea turtles live in the South Pacific Ocean and in recent years have been facing a dangerous change, rising sea levels. Rising sea levels are caused by carbon emissions that are causing the ice caps to melt, making more water in the oceans. This is very dangerous for islands as they are barely above sea level. This affects sea turtles as well. Sea turtles lay their eggs on beaches, and as the sea levels rise, they lose their breeding grounds, causing their reproductive rate to really decrease. According to the NOAA, the global population of the leatherbacks has decreased by over 40% in the past 3 generations. The nesting average in Malaysia Islands declined from 10,000 nests to 1 or 2 per year. Another thing affected by rising sea levels is the rocks and sediments on the islands. As the sea level increases, the currents erode the island's beaches and cliffs. This causes lots of problems, such as making the water unsafe for consumption. Normally, there's small amounts of erosion where there's water, and that river stream disperses sediment in the riverbanks, making the land fertile. But too much sediment makes the water dangerous for animals to drink. Too much of the beaches and cliffs are being eroded. It's causing the streams not to be drinkable and causing cliffs to crumble away. Here's Leo to go more into depth on how rising sea levels will affect the islands.
Now let's talk about the South Pacific Islands. They are a beautiful place from far away, but up close they have many issues. This part of the world is struggling with rising sea levels and rising temperatures. The rising sea levels are causing them to have issues with water purification and erosion. This is now becoming a larger issue because it's not just affecting turtles, it's affecting cities and trees. Erosion is taking away sturdy land over time. Now there is going to be less and less sturdy land for people to live on. Erosion is also making it easier to flood to occur over time. Next, people can't drink salt water, so water needs to be purified. With the floods, the clean water mixes with salt water and becomes undrinkable. Now on to Maria to talk about the leatherback sea turtles.
As Hailey was saying, leatherback sea turtles are the species found in South Pacific Islands that are currently being endangered. In the last 30 years, the populations in certain regions have dropped more than 80%, with fewer than 1,400 adult females left and fewer than 34,000 nesting females. Although this is due to many issues such as climate change and increasing sea levels has been one of the primary causes the loss of nesting beaches due to level rise. This loss of breeding grounds affects the reproduction rate of leatherback sea turtles. Leatherbacks lay about 80 eggs per nest, but as the sand temperature gets hotter and less habitat is available for use, more females only hatching are appearing, and in some cases, no hatching at all. In some places, hatch success has dropped below 50%. The decrease in leatherbacks will also impact other populations, such as the jellyfish population. Since turtles mostly feed onto jellyfish, if they decrease, the jellyfish population will increase and result into overpopulating. Another population it will affect is the fish larvae, such as sardines and other small fishes. As the number of jellyfish will rise, it will lead to more predations to this type of fishes as their predator, potentially leading to a decline in fish populations, affecting not only fish stocks, but also the homeostasis of the ocean food web. Now passing it on to Hailey to explain more.
Thank you, Maria. It's hard to spot a leatherback sea turtle as they mainly stay underwater in the deep sea. We can see the sea turtles migrating back to the beach where they are born to lay their own eggs. Unfortunately, most babies don't survive due to the increase in temperature and due to nests being swept away by rising sea levels. The eggs are at risk of baking and not hatching as the sand warms up. Fortunately, the sea turtles can survive through the MAD strategy. MAD is a way to determine if a species is able to survive such changes in their environment. Sea turtles cannot adapt very quickly as their reproductive levels have decreased a lot in the past few generations, but they can migrate. Sea turtles are in fact known for migrating. But during my interview with Travis Larson, I asked him if he thinks the leatherbacks will go extinct.
Probably. I think a lot of things are going to go extinct over the next 20 years.
I agree that migrating won't work forever as all beaches are being affected by rising sea levels. So eventually they will run out of beaches in the right condition to nest. Because of this, I believe they will go extinct. Passing it on back to Leah to explain some ways we can prevent flood damage.
And now let's talk about the solution. In the world, flood barriers exist, such as dams or walls created to protect cities and areas. For example, the Hoover Dam, located in the Colorado River. My team and I believe that adding flood barriers to the South Pacific Islands would help with the flooding issues. The barriers would protect certain parts of the South Pacific Islands, such as cities and parts of the beaches. We would protect the beaches to make sure that the leatherback sea turtles continue to have breeding grounds to lay their eggs. Now, Maria, tell us about the flood barrier's impact on our precious turtles.
Now, this solution has two sides of it, so let's start with the negative side. Flood barriers and dams can change or block the access to nesting beaches, which are important for turtles to lay their eggs. So by altering it, it can reduce the number of safe places for turtles to lay their eggs, leading to a decline in successful hatching. However, this unfavorable aspect can be limited by investing in flood barriers that accommodate to breeding patterns of the turtles, remove the obstacles that inhibit their movement. To add on to that, flood barriers can help reduce coastal flooding, which might wash away the turtles' nests during storms or high tides. To add to that, it also helps reduce rising sea levels and strong wave action, helping preserve beaches over time, giving turtles places to return for nesting each year, and a better place for the future of the sea turtles. Although this is not the perfect solution, when carefully planned, flood barriers could help protect their homes and nests from storm damage.
On to what Maria said about flood barriers, it can help restore a few ecosystem services. One example of an ecosystem service affected by rising sea levels is water purification. Water purification is the natural process of making water safe for organisms to drink. Water has lots of bacteria and dangerous things in it, but things like sticks and rocks in a stream can help purify the water. We store our water for cities and reservoirs, massive lakes where we can control the water. The island needs to use reservoirs to drink water as salt water is too salty. Unfortunately, rising sea levels has caused reservoirs to get salt water in them, making the water dangerous. The flood barriers will stop the seawater from getting into the reservoirs and keep it safe for the island's organisms. Now here's Leah to explain how humans are impacted by rising sea levels.
Humans are very heavily impacted by climate change overall, but specifically rising sea levels. The people that live on the South Pacific Islands are struggling constantly with their houses being flooding and losing their property. Back in July of 2024, there was a humongous flood that happened in the South Pacific Islands. People had to be evacuated and many lost their homes. Though it is extremely hard to pinpoint the exact number of houses lost, around 47,000 houses were lost that day. Moving on to our ecosystem service, water purification. People fight it constantly because of flooding. The water is not being purified because it keeps getting infected with salt water. This means that people do not have drinking water. This could cause people to die of dehydration.
Adding the dams will make sure that water is clean and accessible to all, as Hailey mentioned earlier. So, now let me tell you about our prediction for the future. My team and I believe that in the next 50 years, without any dams or other solutions, the South Pacific Islands will have to be evacuated because the erosion would have made the land unstable enough, and the stable land would be very small because of the rising sea levels that are just going to be continuously covering the land that people live on.
Finally, as part of our project to help maintain and protect leatherback sea turtles in the South Pacific Islands, we also collected signatures, their petition to support the creation of new laws. This law aims towards the reduction of greenhouse gases and regulate energy use to help protect the few remaining nesting grounds left. This shows that people in our community believe that this is a big issue and are willing to solve it. With this signature so far, this petition represents growing awareness within our community and readiness to participate in environmental action.
Thank you for tuning in to Deep Dive. See you tomorrow.